How could you do this to me? My betrayed husband has asked me that question more than once, and it stops me cold every time. If you love me so much, how could you hurt me like this? The simple truth is, I don't know how to answer. Nothing I come up with, no explanation or reasoning, feels right. Even to myself, there's no answer that fits, no justification that makes sense. I do love him. I love him more than anything, and every day he chooses to stay, I'm amazed by his strength. He doesn't know the full story of what I did. He saw part of a text exchange, just one message where the other man said something romantic and I encouraged it. That was enough to shatter him. But the truth goes deeper than that. The affair was ongoing past 4 months at the time of discovery. We had been deeply intimate on numerous occasions. My AP was also deeply romantic. I was so flattered, so enamored at the time. But the D-Day made me think things differently. And now I carry the rest of it like a heavy, shameful burden he doesn't even know exists. Why did I do it? I don't know. I can point to circumstances. I was miserable, burned out, resentful. But so are millions of people in struggling relationships. And they don't cheat. So why did I? That question scares me more than anything because I don't have a clear answer. Whatever reasons I have, they feel hollow, self-serving. Before this, I thought I was a good person, maybe a little insecure, maybe someone who struggled with feeling worthy. But this made me see myself in a way I can't ignore. I see the selfishness, the cowardice, the willingness to betray someone who gave me their whole heart. And it's horrifying. The person I was during the affair, she's someone I don't recognize, but she's still me, and I have to live with that. I've told myself I need to rebuild my sense of self-worth, but that feels impossible. Every time someone calls me a good person or a good wife, I flinch. My mind immediately says, no, you're not, if only they knew. I feel like I'm living a lie, trying to act like someone who deserves kindness, respect, or love, when deep down, I don't believe I do. My BH told me something recently that stuck with me. He said, you can't undo it, but you can decide what kind of person you'll be from now on. You can choose integrity. I'm clinging to that, this idea that while I can't rewrite my past, I can choose what comes next. I don't want to be a coward anymore. I don't want to be the person who hurts the people she loves most, but the guilt is suffocating. There's this part of me that feels like I should tell the world what I did, so no one thinks I'm better than I am. Every time I make a new friend, I feel this urge to confess, like I owe it to them not to let them think I'm a good person. That's how deeply this shame runs. It overshadows every other part of me. And yet, despite it all, my husband is still here. I don't understand his strength. How can someone so wounded still see the humanity in me? How can he look at me with compassion when I can barely look at myself? I admire him more than I can express. He's the braver one, the stronger one. I know I'll carry this with me forever. It's not the same pain he feels. It never could be. But it's a constant reminder of what I destroyed. Every time he smiles or laughs, I'm reminded of how much I almost lost. My goal now is simple: to become someone better, someone he can trust again, someone who earns his love instead of just clinging to it. I'll never stop trying to prove it, even if I can never fully make up for what I've done. Update: I don't know where to begin. My husband found things I had hidden, things I should have confessed but was too afraid to face. Now he's told me he wants out. He says he regrets everything, including having kids with me, and the only reason I'm still here is for their sake. Hearing that broke something in me. I've hurt him so deeply that he can't even see anything good in the life we built together. He looks at me like I'm poison, and the pain I've caused him is written all over his face. I've been struggling to hold it together. I've been drowning in guilt, shame, and self-loathing. But I'm trying to stay functional for our kids. They didn't ask for this chaos, and the least I can do is be a steady presence for them. Some days, though, it feels impossible. I've had moments of despair, thoughts I'm not proud of, but I know I have to push through for them. I've started therapy. It's one small step, but it's something. I've been in such a dark place for so long, and instead of facing my issues, I escaped into something that made everything worse. I do love my husband. I love him more than anything, and I know that makes no sense considering what I've done. My actions don't reflect the love I feel, And that's something I'm struggling to reconcile. If I truly loved him, how could I have done this? It's a question I don't have an answer to, and it haunts me every day. When he first found out, he said he might consider couples therapy. Now, the more I apologize, the more distant he becomes. We barely speak except about the kids. We share a house and a bed, but there's a wall between us that feels insurmountable. I don't know how to fix this, and I'm terrified I've already lost him for good. For now, I've decided to focus on being the best mom I can be. It's the only reason I'm still here, and I owe it to my children to show up for them. I want to prove, not just to him, but to myself, that I can be a better person, that I can be someone who takes accountability and grows from her mistakes. Still, I can't let go of the hope that, in time, I might earn a second chance with him. I know it's not guaranteed, and I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to do the work, to show him through my actions that I'm not the same person who hurt him. I owe him that much. Right now, though, I feel so lost. Living under the same roof as someone I've devastated is excruciating, and I don't know how to navigate it. I don't want to overwhelm him with apologies, but I also don't want to seem indifferent. I want to respect his need for space, but I'm afraid that the distance between us is only growing. Final update. Yesterday, my husband handed me divorce papers. It feels so final, so overwhelming, and yet part of me knew this was coming. Things have been escalating for weeks, and yesterday was the breaking point. When he came home, he was furious. He called me names. Whore, liar. The same things he's been saying for a while now, but this time, he said it was over. He said he couldn't stand to look at me anymore and told me to get out of our room. I went to the guest room, but something in me couldn't leave it like that. I knocked on his door. I thought we could talk, and I could calm him down. When he opened the door, he was livid. He started yelling, and when I tried to stand my ground, he pushed me. I don't know why I snapped the way I did, but for the first time, I fought back verbally. I told him I had had enough of his tantrums, and I said something I regret more than anything. I wouldn't have cheated if you aren't such a terrible partner. I've never talked to him like that before. I've always taken the insults, the blame, because I know I deserve most of it. But in that moment, I lashed out. He walked to the guest room, and when I followed, he lashed at me. I flinched and stepped back, but he came at me again, and I feared for my safety in that moment. I wanted to call the police and report a domestic violence incident, but I thought better of it. This morning, I went to him to apologize. I wanted to take back what I said, to tell him I didn't mean it, that I was just angry and hurt. But he didn't care. He called me a liar, swore at me some more, and said everything that happened last night was my fault for not de-escalating. I've apologized so many times I've lost count. I've tried to explain that I wasn't trying to hurt him, that I was just desperate for us to talk. But he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear anything from me. I'm at a loss for what to do now. I feel so broken, and I know he feels the same, if not worse. I've destroyed the person he was, the love we had, and whatever fragile connection we were clinging to is gone now. I want to keep fighting for my family, but I don't think there's anything left to fight for. For now, I'm trying to focus on getting through the day. I'm trying to focus on the kids, on therapy, on making sure I don't spiral into the dark place I've been hovering over. But it's hard. I'm still in the same house with him, sharing the same space, and every interaction feels like walking on broken glass. I don't know where to go from here. All I know is that I've reached the end of this chapter, and I'm terrified of what comes next.